Hi guys, today I have picked a shady project. It is so hot, we're in the lower 90s, and because we had a cool spring, I'm just not used to this heat. But I've decided to work in the shade today, and I went to Lowe's and picked up a nice combination of shade plants, and I'm going to make a pot for the shade garden. Actually, I'm calling it the mushroom garden now, since I got my little mosaic mushroom. And I'm just going to pop a couple of hostas in these two pots. I had some small boxwood cuttings that I had rooted out, and they were so small, of course, they looked kind of ridiculous in their big pot. And they weren't dying, but they weren't thriving because this area really is almost full shade. This pot where you see a little more of the alyssum growing gets more sun than the other, but the whole area is pretty heavy shade. So that is why I picked these plants. I picked two different kinds of Coleus that I'm going to put in the pot, and I'm going to put in some Columbine that my friend Lori gave me, mixed in with that. I think that'll look like a really nice mix, and the Columbine has these beautiful delicate leaves. It'll be a nice contrast with these. But one of these is called the Broadway Coleus, and it's got this variegation. It's kind of a purpley red with chartreuse edges. I think that's gorgeous. And then over here, this is an all purplish red called Main Street, Beale Street Coleus. So it's got street in the name twice. But these are from Lowe's, and I thought they look really nice in the same pot together. Like I said, I think I'm going to combine that with the Columbine that I have, that my friend Lori gave me from her garden. So we'll see how that works out. And then these two are going to go in the white pots where the boxwood cuttings were previously, and they'll do great in the shade. All of these are shade plants, and the Coleus in my area are annuals. We just get too cold here in zone 6B, 7A. So these are annuals, and then these should come back. I have no experience growing hostas in pots, but I don't see why they wouldn't come back. They will have lots of dirt around their roots, so I feel like they will just fill out that pot nicely and be just fine and come back next year. And it's always nice when you can put perennials in pots and count on them to come back next year. It's like half your work is done. So I'm going to put all this together, and we'll see how it looks at the end. Okay, so the shade garden is all planted up, and I don't think I mentioned what type of hosta that I bought. These are called Hosta Guacamole. They're just that bright green that guacamole is, and I just love it. I wanted something with a little bit of yellow. I already have a white and green one here, and a small hydrangea. But if I was going to add more hostas, I wanted it to be a color contrast. So that one has more of a chartreuse lime green. So that is Hosta Guacamole. And I have those both in the white pots flanking my little path to where you get into the little mushroom garden seating area. And let me show you how this turned out. As you can hear, the cicadas are still around, making lots of noise and busy flying in the trees. They love the heat. But here we go. I've got the two Coleus in the back, and these don't look great right now. These are transplants, but they are perennials and should come back next year. And I'm also hoping that during the season they'll fill out. But what I like about them being in the front is they have these delicate, beautiful leaves, and even though they're not going to flower this year, they're just small plants. They're just a nice contrast in color and shape to the two Coleus that are in the back. So I have the two Coleus in the back, and they get huge, and it should really fill out this area and give it some nice color. And shade flowers are a little bit hard to find. Beautifully colored shade flowers. So a lot of times you can get your color from foliage plants like Coleus. So keep your fingers crossed that I don't get aphids or anything, and these should get very huge. I did want to mention that I picked a black pot. This is it's not a nursery pot, but I just bought a plastic pot, and I'm only mentioning it because I normally wouldn't pick black. It really absorbs a lot of heat when you put it in the sun. But like I told you, it is a very shaded area. And I thought it would go with the black arbor here, the trellis. This is a black trellis in the back here. And I also thought it set off the bright colors of the Coleus really well. So I got to water everything in. And in a couple weeks, I hope that it will be a lot more magnificent. And as a side note, I just have a few forget-me-not seedlings here that I started. My son gave me some seeds for Mother's Day for different flowers, and this was one of them. So I've got these seedlings here, and they're doing great. They like shade, or part shade, and hopefully next year those will come back and give me some flowers back here. So guys, this is it. This is what I've done. I think it's a big improvement over the tiny boxwoods, and these actually will fill the pot in no time. There's no need to overstuff these. I just put one plant in each because I think by next year they're going to just multiply and fill the pot. So that is the mushroom garden all fixed up, guys, and I'll be sure to give you updates as things fill out. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you're keeping cool. Bye.